Hello everybody. So, I wanted to make this video to share with you how I structure my diet for athletic performance, weight management, and general health. I want to preface things by saying that you don't need to do the things that I do, and you don't need to eat the foods that I eat in order to lose, gain, or maintain weight. I just wanted to share with you some of the methods that I employ and some of the foods that I eat and that I find the most success with. So, I'll start by talking about proteins. Here are some of the different protein sources I consume throughout the day, often within an 8-hour window between about 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. I try to eat 4 to 5 meals, 400 to 600 calories each, depending on my goal. I don't suggest great value chicken or salmon, by the way. Definitely try to get something better. If you're on a budget, though, it's edible. So, I ordered the protein from fattiest to leanest, going left to right, the only exception being that sardines have more fat than beef. For the most part, any meal can include any of the foods on this table. The exception is that my post-workout meal pretty much always includes something on the right. So, for meal 1, the meal before my workout, I'll go with any protein source on the table. For meal 2, my post-workout meal, I'll go with a lean source of protein like Chobani yogurt or some chicken and rice, something like that. Alternative lean protein sources would be turkey, whey protein isolate, and egg whites, just to name a few. Here are some examples of post-workout meals. Meals 3, 4, and 5 could include any protein source on the table, so long as it's an adequate amount. What is an adequate amount will depend on a few different factors, but 20 to 30 grams of protein per serving is the general recommendation. For reference, this piece of chicken to the right of my fist is about 30 grams of protein. So now, I'll go over each food item individually and share some facts about each, starting with pistachios. They have about a gram of protein for every 2 grams of fat. The fats in nuts are healthy poly and monounsaturated fats, good for heart health. However, nuts are also relatively high in omega-6 fats. Omega-6s are important, but the requirement for omega-6s is very modest, and practically everyone gets too much due in part to our intake of industrialized seed oils. Most health professionals suggest a ratio of about 1 to 4 omega-3 to omega-6 for good health, and most people get closer to like 1 to 15 omega-3 to omega-6. I recommend at least 3 servings of fish per week, which brings me to these. I promise, they're not that bad. Sardines have become my favorite fish to eat over the last few years, and for a few reasons. Not only are they high in omega-3s, but they're also lower in heavy metals than many predatory fish like tuna with its high mercury. It's also quick and easy to prep, so if you're looking for a good source of omega-3s and don't have time to cook salmon, well, there you go. It's true, by the way, that tuna has some omega-3s, but it's not as much. I would keep servings of tuna kind of low, by the way, just because of the high mercury content. I wouldn't really go above 3 a week per tuna, so at least 3 servings of fish per week, no more than 3 servings of tuna. Eggs are about 50% protein, 50% fat, and they're probably my favorite source of protein. Iron, zinc, vitamins A, B, and C, they're awesome little packets of nutrients so long as you don't get the 99-cent cartons. The oat quality is far better in organic or cage-free eggs, and that's where the nutrients is. By the way, don't let the fat and cholesterol content turn you off of eggs. Cholesterol isn't necessarily bad, and whether you increase your good cholesterol, your HDL, or your bad cholesterol, your LDL, depends on accompanying dietary practices. How much do you eat, and what do you eat with it? Usually, I'll go lean with my beef. I didn't this time. I kind of messed up. I usually get like 94% protein or something like that. As I stated with eggs, we shouldn't be afraid of dietary fat, but I don't like to get a ton in the form of beef tallow. Even if you're getting lean beef, I would keep servings to no more than 4 per week. And just like with chicken, I keep servings approximately the size of my fist. So that's it for protein. Moving on to carbs, starting with carbs in the form of vegetables. Leafy greens are relatively low in calories, and so when I think of leafy greens, I'm focused more on the micronutrient content rather than the macronutrient content. And I focus on the micronutrient content as it relates to health span and longevity. That's kind of what I care about the most. So I'll go through my vegetables and briefly give you some facts about each. Tomatoes. One reason I eat tomatoes is they're an easy source of lycopene. Lycopene gives tomatoes their red color, and it's also present in watermelon, papaya, grapefruit, and red bell pepper. Lycopene slows angiogenesis, the formation of new blood vessels. Angiogenesis is bad because it's a process by which cancer can metastasize. So, lycopene reduces cancer risk and potentially increases health span for that reason. One reason I suggest getting spinach and other leafy greens in my diet is for the folate content. Folate is a B vitamin that plays an important role in preserving DNA structure and function. Folate is involved in making an important building block of DNA called thymine, and if you can't make thymine, your body may replace thymine with another molecule called uracil. However, uracil doesn't belong in DNA, and misincorporation of uracil where thymine should go could cause DNA to malfunction. When this happens, DNA could signal that a cell should replicate when it shouldn't, to replicate out of control, and that's cancer. So, by preserving production of thymine and ultimately the structure of DNA, folate is good for increasing health span. How cool. Let's see. Carrots have beta-carotene, which is converted to vitamin A. It's important for immune function and may help maintain healthy vision. That's all I'm saying about you, carrots. If you know me, you know I love avocados. They have a ton of potassium, vitamin E, and healthy monounsaturated fat. Fat which helps you absorb the nutrients from your leafy greens if eaten in conjunction. That's one reason I like to make shakes with greens and avocado. Hardly anyone gets enough potassium, but avocados on average have about 1,000 milligrams, which is a lot, over double that of a banana, and people tout bananas as being high potassium foods. The requirement, however, is 4,000 milligrams and would require you to eat 10 bananas. If you're getting your leafy greens regularly, you're likely approaching or hitting your requirement, but avocado is an excellent source to help you get there. Okay, so this is pretty cool. Cruciferous veggies like kale, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, and cauliflower contain naturally produced plant insecticides that our human biology, oddly enough, benefits from. The insecticide, called an isothiocyanate, is recognized by the human cell as a foreign compound, something unwanted. So the cell removes the isothiocyanate, and in doing so, upregulates cellular mechanisms that make you more resilient to other kinds of stressors, like the stress from exercise, for instance. It's a phenomenon in biology called hormesis. Hormetic stress is the kind of imposed stress that makes the body more resilient in the future. Exercise is actually an example of hormetic stress. When you run, you give yourself time to recover. You can run for longer next time or faster next time. Well, isothiocyanates provide hormetic stress in their own way. To get isothiocyanates, eat your cruciferous vegetables raw. So, on to carb sources. I like to eat my carbs surrounding my workouts. How many grams of carbs depends on my goal. Before I get into personal specifics, I want to stress that you will all have varying levels of success with different levels of carb intake. The amount of carbs I eat to reach my goals will likely be different than the amount you need to reach yours, even if our goals are somewhat similar. How you time your intake might be different too. However, this information can provide a useful starting point for you to figure out your needs. So, when I'm going for weight loss, I eat about 50 to 100 grams of carbs per day, give or take, and I only eat them in the first 3 meals of the day. Meals 4 and 5, if I'm going for weight loss or even just maintenance, I don't eat carbs really. If I'm going for weight gain, I'll include carbs in all of my meals, but will still consume the majority around my workouts. If we know how much protein we need in grams, we can multiply that number by 4 to get the calories from protein that you need. Subtract that from your total recommended caloric intake, and you get the remaining calories to be made up from fat and carbs. At this point, with protein and total calories locked in, it's about finding the carb to fat ratio that will help you feel and perform the best over the course of your weight loss or weight gain. If you go low carb with the intention of fat loss, make sure that the fats you eat to make up the difference in calories are healthy fats because you're going to be taking in a lot of them. If you go high carb with either the intention of muscle gain or fat loss, make fats at least 15% of your caloric intake. Dietary fat is crucial for proper hormone production, and cutting out fats completely is a mistake, no matter your goal. I have calculated your calories from protein as well as your total calories from fats and carbs, and included each along with the video. I also included very light suggestions on ranges of carbohydrate you might be most successful with in achieving your goal. We'll play around with the ratio as needed. Here's how you calculate the grams of fat and grams of carbs you need. Take the calories from carbs you've decided to go with and divide that number by 4. You will get the grams of carbs you need from that. Take the calories from fat you've decided to go with and divide that number by 9. You'll get the grams of fat that you need from that. So, for instance, say you decided to do 600 calories from fat. Divide that number by 9 and you get 66 grams. That's about 1 avocado, a handful or 2 of nuts, 2 eggs, and a tablespoon of butter. Just to give you an idea. Say that you decided on 600 calories from carbs. Divide that number by 4 and you get 150 grams. That's about 1 cup of white rice, a banana, a cup of blueberries, an apple, and a sweet potato. Reaching a body composition goal, whether it involves weight gain or weight loss, relies on 2 factors. 1, calories in, calories out, and 2, whatever method you employ to keep you on track with your caloric surplus or deficit. These are the methods I employ, and so I wanted to share. We may find success for you doing different things. This just serves as the roughest of templates, if that. There are a few things I didn't go over, like sauerkraut, for instance. Didn't talk about that at all. I'll do another video on that. A whole video on sauerkraut. No, but seriously, have a good day, everybody. Send me questions if you have any, please. All right, bye.